Hey, Robbie Bobby Miller, look at that burger going right in Cozy Belly. We are doing the Respawn Aim Fire, the kick-ass irreverent gaming podcast from Affable Idiots. I'm one of your hosts, Chad Michael, not eating anything right now. Innes, I almost said Gumbert. What if I was Chad Michael Gumbert? Adam, would you take my hand in marriage? We got Adam. Don't answer that question, because I don't want my feelings to get hurt. Gumbert.
I will say I've always not liked my actual last name, so that wouldn't even be part of the equation, because I don't. It's off. It's unique, but it's not good. You know what I'm saying?
Adaminus, though. Adaminus. That's fun to say.
It's a little poppy. Yeah. That's all right.
Yeah.
It's not the worst.
We got Burger Boy himself, Alex. Innes-Cozina. How are you, Alex?
Trying to wipe off residue from the burger. The thing is like before we were just about to do the podcast, I was like, all right, all systems are good. Everything's ready to go. Oh shit, my camera's shitting the bed. Can I use the Sony Imaging Edge mobile app to connect to my Sony A6100 camera and remotely control it from there? Let's try it right now. Start. Oh, well, apparently it just conveniently decided to work right now, but it wasn't working earlier. No matter what I would do, it wouldn't work earlier. And so I wasn't able to fix whatever issue I had with my camera, had to go ahead, reboot the whole computer, did the trick. But in the middle of all that, I didn't get a chance to eat the burger, which I had brought down with me. And so I figured I'd sneak in a quick little bite over there, but I clearly did not have enough time to do so gracefully.
Well, if you're wondering what time of night that Alex eats burgers, it's 8:30 Eastern time, sometimes on twitch.tv/AffableIdiots Sunday evenings, and then you can catch him eating on demand on YouTube and podcast services Tuesday mornings at 9 a.m. Eastern time as well. We've got fun things to talk about today. We're going to talk about some surprise things. We're going to talk about a thing that Adam has up his sleeve that he says is the best thing in the world. We've got a thing in my sleeve that might or might not be skewed in one person's direction. But we're going to instead start today by talking about our main quest, Xbox.
Before we do that...
Okay.
Hold on. I assure you this will be a very short and quick and seamless interruption in the podcast before we get back into the main quest. As you all know, I've been working diligently and hard on the next season of Cozy Bears Cooking. Cozy Bears Cooking Season 4. Season 4 of Cozy Bears Cooking is still underway. However, it is, like many of the video games we play nowadays, going to be delayed by just a little bit. Originally, the plan was that it would be launching this upcoming Wednesday, January the 24th. However, because of some unforeseen circumstances, because of me just wanting to inject as much polish and quality into this season as I possibly can right out the gate, I'm going to be pushing it back by a week. It will now be debuting January 31st at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time over on twitch.tv/CozyBearLive. Again, apologies if y'all were really looking forward to this within a few days from now, but I assure you, even though it is being pushed back by a week, and that means that the season as a whole will be 7 episodes instead of 8, those 7 episodes are going to be must-sees. So look forward to them.
Just hold on. Even though it is delayed, it will still be here at least a week and a half earlier than Skull and Bones. So.
Oh, good point.
I like that he was doing the research for the joke. I appreciate it a lot.
Yeah. I was like, this is kind of a... First of all, I was going to say Cozy Bear Cooking and just more like Skull and Bones Cooking. And then I was like, wait a minute. We can do better. Wait a minute. That's coming out soon, isn't it? Apparently, supposedly. But right now, we're going to talk about Xbox Developer _ Direct24. This info comes from Logan Plant at IGN. Start with the big hitter, or maybe the big whipper, you should call it. We got our first look at Machine Games' Indiana Jones game, which is officially titled Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. And the name of it, the whole thing is about Indiana Jones finding something that appears at first glance like, this thing isn't special. Why the fuck are we doing this? And then it turns out that it is significant. And so that's what I see when I look at the name. Oh, the Great Circle. What a boring, stupid ass, nasty, generic name. And then it turns out I'm going to love it, apparently, whenever I play the game. So we got to look at puzzle solving to open what looks like an ancient temple, combat with Indy's iconic whip, and third-person rope-swinging action. Machine Games revealed that the game will shift to a third-person perspective for environmental traversal and cutscenes. And EW, whatever that is that Entertainment Weekly?
Entertainment Weekly, I believe.
Confirmed shortly after the developer direct on Thursday that it's Troy Baker who is playing Indy in Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, though with Harrison Ford's likeness-ish. Likeness. Not exactness, but likeness. What do y'all think about
what
Indiana
he looked
Jones?
about 40 years ago. I'm excited. It should be good. I just like Machine Games, so I'm like, let them do whatever. Everything they've made has been interesting and cool.
Games?
Do what?
What do you play by Machine Games?
I play Wolfenstein.
You play Wolfenstein?
Mm-hmm. And Wolfenstein 2.
What you know about pregnant women covered in blood?
What?
Oh, did you play Wolfenstein 2? Did you play Wolfenstein 2?
I didn't get that far.
Oh no,
I did not get to that
that's almost
part.
the very end of the game. But
Oh yeah, I didn't get that far. But no, I do like the stuff that I played of them. I like that they keep doing the let's punch Nazi stuff. Keep that up forever. No problem with that. Yeah, I like Indiana Jones. That's a cool thing. I do like, you mentioned the Great Circle. Can I interest you in Crystal Skull? Does that sound interesting to you, Chad?
that is, I have not seen that movie. I have seen all the other Indiana Jones movies, but I have not seen Crystal Skull.
That's the one that you missed.
Yeah. Sounds like it's also the
honestly,
one to miss as well.
That is the one that you should, if you've managed to watch 1, 2, 3, and 5, keep it that way.
Yeah.
And then enjoy this video game when it comes out.
Alex, what do you think about
This game looks
Indy?
pretty cool. It looks pretty cool. I'm actually really happy that it's in first person and, in line with, that studio's talents of making great first person games. Definitely a game that I'm going to be interested in checking out later on when it comes out this year. Will say, if I do have a kind of concern for this game, it is, I do hope that they see this game as a chance to really paint on the canvas that is the Indiana Jones IP. There is part of me looking over the trailer that's kind of this does feel a little bit like a kind of played by numbers, played out Indiana Jones experience. It feels like we're hitting on a lot of similar beats to what we got in those movies. When the trailer first started, I was like, this seems like straight up just a recreation of the first Indiana Jones movie, because there's a very similar sequence in that movie where Indiana Jones gets stopped by the Nazis as he's, trying to get himself out of a hole or something or other. And so I do kind of want to see how that develops, even if they perhaps don't fully live up on that front, even if it is a very by the numbers Indiana Jones experience. I mean, it looks from a gameplay perspective like it's going to be very compelling. So looking forward.
Oh, one thing.
Yeah.
Because most of them have the dates in here, that one doesn't. The idea of, I wish every company would do this. Just be like, hey, I especially like Xbox doing it this way. Like, hey, it's January. Here's things that are slated for 2024. We'll still maybe get a surprise here or there, but I like the idea of hey, this is coming out in the next year. This one's just says 2024, not a time. I wouldn't be shocked if this one got delayed into 2025, maybe early 2025. But they say right now it's 2024, so we'll see what happens. But I do like the idea of shows being here's what's coming out that you can look forward to this year. If everyone did that, I would be happy. Just let me know what's coming out in the next couple of months. So shout out to them for doing everything you see here is coming out this year.
I will tell you that I watched this trailer and it did not get me pumped at all for the game. I do like machine games, Indiana Jones. I'm indifferent, but also leaning towards I enjoy the property, I guess. But I don't know.
I mean, clearly, because you haven't seen Kingdom of the Crystal Skull next, you don't really have the authority or insight to really truly say that.
But
though.
I have seen the Indiana Jones show at Universal Studios, and I have been on the Indiana Jones ride. So, or maybe it's Disney.
I thought you were going to say
yeah.
the young Indiana Jones TV show.
Yeah. So there's some things in here that I'm sure will get cleaned up, or will be presented in a different way, or I'm sure they'll win me over gameplay wise. But I don't know. The whip physics look weird. It looks like a wiggly snake on its way out and in. I wasn't super in love with. They show his face, and I was like, oh, they did not go with Harrison Ford. And then they said, it's Harrison Ford's likeness. And I was like, oh, that's an interesting take on Harrison Ford's face. And so he looks weird. And then generally, I'll be honest, I think I've realized about myself, I'm not a first person perspective person. That's not my preferred way to play games, and those things feel weird.
Excuse me, what's your most played game of all time?
Destiny 2. I said generally. Shooters, I think, are the, like, I don't have any issue playing
No, I get it,
Halo. I don't have any issue playing Destiny, but like, yeah, playing something like Skyrim or some kind of other Bethesda RPG or things like that in first person feel weird and off-putting to me. So like, there are some things about this that I don't know. I went from being like, oh, I can't wait to hear about Indy, to I'll play Indy if I see some better things about it, or if everyone says that I should, and then I'll play it. But I'm also not like, this game looks like shit. It's just like, I don't know, a few things in there that make it not for me.
I will say that they did very good. Troy Baker obviously is every video game character of all time, but I do think that they did good at like capturing like Indy's like little quirks and movements and like his inflections and stuff. Like, I think that's very convincing of like that era Harrison Ford. Like, I'll get like his little turns and smirks and the way he talks. I'm like, yeah, they got that. So, but we will see. Again, I don't know if it's 2024. I would like for every game to come out when they say it is and be a 10 out of 10, but we will see when we get there.
Yep. Next up, we have the one that is scratching that Chad itch. Senua's Saga Hellblade 2 finally gets a release date. In fact, coming May 21st of 2024. We got a new trailer for the long-awaited sequel, showcasing even more of the gorgeous visuals that Ninja Theory has created. They've explained how they've leveled up since developing the original. There's more complex motion capture. There's all new brutal combat. The audio design, they talked about how they had the binaural audio for the voices in Senua's head, representing her psychosis in the first game, and now they've up-leveled that to like all of the audio as well, not just those voices. So, very excited for that. They've also confirmed that Senua's Sacrifice Hellblade 2 will be a digital-only release. Ooh. The game will cost $50 and be on Xbox Game Pass on launch day. And here's a quote from Dom Matthews on Xbox Wire. We also took advantage of the freedom that digital-only distribution offered us to create a game of the length that fit perfectly with our intended experience, but could be sold at a lower price to reflect the shorter length of our story. This framework also allowed us to focus on the things we really care about, taking our fans on an unforgettable journey in Senua's unique world.
I feel like I've dunked on this game a couple of times in the past for being constantly shown off year after year and not having a release date in sight. Nevertheless, I mean, release date coming pretty soon, and I do appreciate that in that little preview, they were like, hey, we committed to making like a shorter, more contained, more concentrated experience as opposed to something that's long and bloated. So the game definitely gets big props in my book for that. That would be, and I don't want us to like have to hang on this. I don't want to commit to this, but maybe an idea for a barf game playing the original Hellblade in anticipation of this one.
It's pretty short.
No, we did not do that. That is one of the things I loved about the first one, is that it was short enough that I could play it in one sitting, and in fact, you can platinum it in one sitting if you sit long enough. But no, we have not done that.
You can beat any game in
game.
one sitting if you sit long enough.
But I did buy it for Holden a long time ago to force him to play it because I enjoyed it so much, and I thought that everyone should play it. So we could do it as a barf, yeah, in prep for cool. number 2.
I'm a little bit with Alex though about, like, they kept showing. I guess the first showing was cool, and they showed the giant was cool, and then they just kept showing stuff. I'm like, I just want the release date. Like, I don't need this. Like, just let me know. And then this was the first one. I was like, oh no, this game actually looks cool. And they explained what it is. It's like, it's the same length about. Like, it's still going to be a, maybe a 10-ish hour game or whatever. And they spent all this time just making it fucking gorgeous. And like, because I remember, Chad, you brought up that you were worried they're going to try to make it too big and make it something it's not. They're like, no, we know what it is. We just wanted it to kick your grandma in the face with how good it looks. Which I'm like, hey, good way to use your time and your money. So that sounds awesome. This is the first time I saw it. I'm like, oh no, this actually looks really, really cool. And it be digital only doesn't matter because the first one's digital only. It's 2024. Who cares? I don't give a shit. So I'm excited for it. This is the first time.
They released the first one. I can't remember whether
they did eventually get a physical release.
Yeah, but they released the first one. I don't know whether this was pre-Microsoft or post-Microsoft acquisition, but they released the first one in VR on PC. And I'm wondering if that will if that's going to be the same. Like if they're going to, I won't, obviously I don't have a PC nor a VR headset for a PC, but that would be interesting if they did that for this one too.
Maybe like a year later, get a VR version of it or something.
Yeah.
That'd be interesting.
Next up, Avowed is one of the 4/5 games they showed off, and it is the upcoming RPG from Obsidian Entertainment, which shared more information about the combat, showing off battles with weapons. Like you had a one-handed wand, you could dual wield wands, you had dual wield pistols, you could do a sword and shield, all sorts of stuff. And it also will include dialogue trees with difficult choices for players to make, and like the nice trend here with the rest of these, we are getting a release window of fall 2024 for Avowed.
Very cool. I just need this game to be Outer Worlds but fantasy, and I'll be happy. And it looks like that, but a little more polish. So Adam's happy. That's all. I don't need this game to be crazy. I just need it to be a fun one of those. So good for Obsidian. I do love Obsidian. So whenever they do, I'm willing to check out. This
is another one of those first person looks weird and feels awkward for me to play. I don't know, it just makes me feel squiggly and uncomfortable. But again, yeah, if a bunch of people play it and say, this is amazing, you need to play it, I'll do it.
You didn't finish Outer Worlds, did you?
I did not. I never started Outer Worlds. I started Outer Wilds, played for about an hour and said, I hate all of this.
Well, that game's bad. That's fine. I don't like Outer Wilds either. It's not a good game.
I'm in Chad's boat of, if a lot of people say you got to play this game, you absolutely got to play this game, I'll give it a shot. Yeah. But otherwise, it's not a game I'm going to necessarily force myself to.
Shout out to Jerson, first time chat in our Twitch chat right now. And I'm pretty sure this is the same person who has been with this podcast for almost 7 years as a listener. What's up, Jerson? Surprise guest Square Enix appeared
Yestis.
I'm moving on, Alex, and I didn't tell you that, and now our things overlapped.
Oh, I'm sorry.
To hear.
You see, he just mocked you. Oh, I'm sorry. I don't give a fuck.
Woo! Yes, that is the same Jerson. What's up? All right, last two things about this developer_direct. Surprise guest Square Enix showed up at this. They actually, they had their whole little... First of all, I think the presentation of this was kind of interesting and cool how they showed off, like, these are icons of the games they're going to do. They're like erasing text and writing it on there. And they're like, oh, we got to make room for Square Enix. Surprise. They had an update on Visions of Mana. We got a look at the upcoming RPG's real-time action combat, some monster design, score, rideable mounts in the overworld. And this is Mana's first release on Xbox. That whole series has not come to Xbox, and is also coming to PC and PlayStation when it launches this summer. If you're watching the video version, Alex has an I'm sorry chat slowly going up the screen.
I just wonder why, is my question.
Love it. Yeah, what do you, does this excite you? Are you a Mana person? Just normal man?
It's just,
go ahead, Adam.
It's just this, I'm sorry, Chad. No, I've actually never played a Mana. It is so wild. No, I've never played Mana before. It was in that generation. What was that? The first one was what? Super NES or NES? Is it Secret of Mana? Right.
The chronology of the series is weird because I want to say the first Secret of Mana game was a game called Final Fantasy Adventure for the Game Boy, and then they spun it off into Mana into its own thing.
Okay, so an era where I didn't care about those RPGs at all. So I've never played one of these before. I'm normally not my kind of a thing. And if you throw it on Game Pass, maybe. But if not, it's not my thing. But it does look pretty. I just don't know if I'll care.
So
I'm not into this series, but I also think this is like the first one in a very long time, isn't it? Like this is the first game in like 17 or 15 years or something like that.
It's like the first new game in the series because we've gotten like remakes and remasters of prior Mana games. There was one that came out like not too long ago, for example, but this is the first one that's like a new story, a new set of characters from the ground up.
Gotcha.
real quick, my kind of history with Mana is back in the day, used to be a big fan of screwattack.com, which was the kind of main website where you watched content like the Angry Video Game Nerd on, for example. And I remember the original Secret of Mana for the Super Nintendo being a game that website like really championed of like, this is like an impeccable, amazing Super Nintendo RPG that you should absolutely check out. And when I got my original Wii, I downloaded Secret of Mana on the virtual console, as they called it back in the day. And I played like a good 10 hours of it, and I just kind of fell off. I just wasn't honestly really feeling it. And, you know, maybe it is an instance where I just didn't really properly commit to it and didn't take time to really immerse myself in its systems, but I just didn't find it to be perhaps as timeless of a classic as the people over on Screw Attack said it was.
Did we get any info on, I know this showed up at the Xbox Direct, did we know if it's coming to Game Pass at launch? We don't know?
I don't think they said it, so that says to me probably not.
Okay.
Since they didn't specifically say it.
Interesting. Okay. Last thing here, Ara History Untold is an upcoming strategy game from Oxide Games, a team made up of many ex-devs of Firaxis's Civilization series. It's also coming to PC and PC Game Pass this fall. I was like, I don't even remember this. I was like, oh yeah, I saw the strategy thing on the screen and I fast forwarded.
Oh, come on. No, it's very much, you've got to be into those kind of game, but those are the people who made the good one of those kinds of games.
Yeah.
So I'm into that kind of shit. So especially on PC Game Pass, I will check it out for a bit because I've played so much Civilization, so I got to give this one a try too.
Dope. And that's it for the developer_direct. A nice, like 40-ish minutes, 5 games. This is what's coming this year. Here's some release dates. I really, I appreciated this format as well. It's not the Nintendo Direct / State of Play like norm where it's like, we're gonna do some fun things between games and tell you about things that are coming. Look out for Princess Peach. Like it's just like, hey, here's some cool things. Here are the devs behind them. Let's show their offices. Let's have them talk about their passion for these games. And I appreciated this. This was really nice.
Yeah, I'm with you. Especially, last year's State of Play, the big one, then it was Spider-Man. I didn't love every game shown there, but I did like the presentation. I'm just like, all right, trailer, a little interstitial of the symbols, and then we're on to the next trailer.
Yeah.
Or let me talk to developers. They explain the game. They show the game. Move on to the next one. I'm with you. I don't like all the... I don't want to shit on Nintendo because they're the ones who do it anymore, but I don't like we're time to get wacky with Pikmin 4. Like, I don't like that shit either. But I'm also an adult man, so that's just all that is. I like this format. Do this. This is cool.
Dope. All right, let's move on to playtime, where we talk about what we played every time. Playing time and how long we're playing, and some more things about playing and time. I would love to start with Alex and end with your non-barf game so that can lead us into Adam's pee, I assume.
Yeah. So in addition to working on the kind of Twitch setup for the upcoming Cozy Riz cooking stuff, only really been playing 2 games this week. The first one is a little game by the name of Signalis, which is, of course, our barf game for this month. It is very, very redacted. I'm making slow but steady enough progress through it. I'm definitely looking forward to sharing my thoughts on it come the end of the month. And that's really all I have to say about that.
The 2 of you who have played this game so far, whether or not you've beaten it or anything like that, do they actually say the name of the game out loud in the game? Like, how is it really pronounced?
Do they go? So I don't think so. I've been having the sound on the TV, and I have an ear in for podcasts because I listen to podcasts while I play the game. Because I don't even know if there's voice acting in the game. I don't think so. So I don't know if we actually have an idea of how the word is said. I don't think we'll ever know. Maybe you gotta ask Webster's how you're supposed to say it. I don't know.
So there's a Reddit thread. The emphasis is definitely on the second syllable. And they say sig as in signal. The second one as emphasized in canal. So signalis, I guess. And is as in kiss. Yes, signalis. So Alex said it correctly. I just hate that.
But that's just a guy on Reddit. Well, he don't know what the fuck he's talking about.
Yeah, but like you assume everyone on Reddit does their research. right?
That's
what the R in Reddit stands for. r/Signalis is research about Signalis.
Yeah, you're right. That's flawless. I can't argue.
And so, that game is what it is. And the other game that I only played a very small amount of, so I'm looking forward to hearing Adam's thoughts on this game more than I am looking forward to having myself express what little I played of it, is Palworld.
That's it? That's all you got?
I was sorry. I was queuing that up like I wanted Adam to take the wheel, but
okay. You said you had a little bit, but you want to hear more. What's your little bit, though?
I mean, my little bit with this one is I booted it up for an hour. I played around in it a little bit. I was like, clearly there is something to this game. I can sort of understand why people are really falling in love with it, but it is a survival game, which I knew going into this experience. I wasn't completely like shell shocked of, I didn't expect it to be this kind of a game. But that kind of stuff very quickly kind of tired me out. And, it's funny. What I'm reading online is that like this game is like, it does a much better job of like onboarding and tutorializing you into its experience better than like something like say Icarus or Ark, Survival Evolved, for example, other similar games that's been compared to. And yet even with that, I still feel like the kind of like tutorial and onboarding of the game is a little not super obvious. I do want to check it out like again at some point in the future. The fact that it's like in early access now means that I do have the excuse of, well, I could always just wait until this game properly quote unquote releases and then come back to it then and see, be able to kind of experience a more fleshed out and polished experience. But yeah, that's kind of, unfortunately, like I said, only played it about an hour, don't have too much to say about it. But yeah, those are my thoughts.
Dope. I played Palworld maybe 5 or 6 hours or so, and it is 100%. It is a survival game. I would say it's like 60%, 55% survival game versus the 40% Pokemon kind of a thing. I liked it a lot though. Like the game blew up out of nowhere. Like I think it was 2 million sales on Steam in the first 24 hours, even though it's on Game Pass. So without Game Pass, it still sold 2 million. It's like the biggest thing ever.
3 million passed after 40 hours.
Yeah, it's wild. And I like it. I think it works for me. Because I've played enough of, I played a little bit of Ark, but I played enough of Minecraft mostly to do like understand that survival kind of curve. And I like the little twist of it. I don't know. It works for me. Getting the Pokemon pals, whatever. I'm gonna call them Pokemon the entire time. That's exactly what it is. But no, like getting them to go work at your base and automating all that. Like I said, it's mostly survival game. And it's got that other stuff in there too. But then just like, having my little water lizard guy out and then we go like fight some dudes with guns and I shoot them with a crossbow. I don't know, man. It works for me. And just exploring this big island and having your gym battles and building up your base and stuff. It just works, man. I don't know what it is. This game absolutely made it work. So I'm happy I got to play it for free. I don't know how long I'll stick with it. Maybe I'll play it for a little bit if my son wants to play, because those games are better if you have people up in a world doing stuff together. But it's good for now. I'll definitely check it more when it comes to full access. But like, it is one of those. So if you've ever liked one of those, you'll like this.
I don't know how I didn't understand that it was a survival game. Because I've seen trailers for this game leading up to it. I was like, Pokemon with guns?
Well, the trailers...
I'm into.
I was
going to say, do have guns.
They have not really done a good job of explaining exactly what this is. I will say quickly, this game is kind of discourse central right now on Twitter. People often talk about how usually there's like a person of the day on Twitter and your only role on Twitter is to make sure you're not it. And it feels like this game has been person of the day on Twitter for like the past 3 days of people complaining about this studio's tenuous connection with AI generated art, with unsavory business practices, with creating games that, rip off other more popular properties, of there being Pokemon models in this game that in some cases almost like wholesale rip off the real McCoy. And like, that is all like certainly a valid conversation to have, and I don't want to kind of like sweep that under the rug. It's going to be very interesting to see how things play out over the next few days. I will say, I do think that there is just a little bit of hyperbole in the sense that, like, clearly they have managed to make a game that has managed to scratch an itch from a kind of gameplay perspective that a lot of people didn't realize that they had. And that's not something that you can, at least at this point in time, really kind of create with AI. That's something that comes from a development team that it knows what they're doing and has been able to kind of successfully kind of like capture a kind of like successful kind of gameplay loop that they just managed to kind of do so successfully. And in that regard, like, there is like my kind of whole take is like, I do hope that we do see sort of some sort of resolution with regards to this studio and its rather weird relationship with a lot of these kind of assets and stuff. But clearly they managed to kind of like tap into something really interesting and made a really interesting game. But yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, I wonder how
Twitter discourse
how
is
big
funny
it would've
about this
been
one.
If the Pokemon themselves were not like ripped off. Like if they had original creature design, there's some other like game out there right now. It's like play with all your friends and collect it, and it's like a similar thing to Pokemon, and it kind of got a little bit big. But this is like fucking straight up rip off Vulpix and Wooloo and all these other Pokemon, and I wonder if it didn't have that publicity around it, whether it would be as big as it got right at launch.
Well, I don't know, because we've known that there have been the designs of the thing, and it's like it feels to me like Twitter discourse of people who like a thing who are mad that something else is popular, because it's like a Pokemon defender's like, oh, this is awful, this is whatever, and it's like there's no actual proof that AI was used to create anything in the game. People are just saying it because like a dude who works there likes AI stuff. So I guess that means that it happens because the guy who works there likes it. Like, it's stupid.
Yeah, I will say, I saw a tweet earlier today that was like, hey, this game, hopefully will, help convince Game Freak to continue to iterate on the design of their own Pokemon games and kind of move outside of their comfort zone and really kind of push what the Pokemon franchise can be. But also, it's a little disingenuous to say that this is like the only game that is currently doing so, because we've seen many, many other games within the like Pokemon knockoff, Pokemon inspired sphere that have come out over the past few years. Yeah. And so I think that, it's important that we recognize the ways in which this game is good, the ways in which this game is maybe not so good or perhaps problematic, and also kind of understand that it is one of many games like this. It just so happens that this is the most weirdly successful Pokemon knockoff, Pokemon inspired game in some time.
Yeah, it's the one that hit. I guess they're like, hey, PC guys, it's fucking survival, and you also like Pokemon. They're like, you know what? That works today. That is the thing that works today, so we're good.
I think it's important, cool. Like, as Adam mentioned, though, I feel like a lot of people are like, oh, this could be, this is what Pokemon could be, and I watched an hour and a half of the Kind of Funny stream of it, and it was like, this is very, very different. It is, as Adam said, so much survival. Oh. It is, you're out there Minecraft, like punching rocks and chopping down trees and getting wood and getting this and building a base. And also didn't love that, like, your pals are not
just call them Pokemon.
Your Pokemon, they're not like, in a Pokemon game, I'm collecting them, powering them up. They're mine. I have this association with them, this connection to them. And I watched, like, Andy had a bunch on the KF stream, and he had a bunch that you'd bring them back to your base to help you build up your base and defend it and all this kind of stuff. And then if your base goes away, like, all your Pokemon just immediately, they forget exactly who you are and they go wander back into the wilderness. I was like, oh.
Like, I'm free.
Yeah. Which kind of part of my issue too in watching it, and when I realized, like, oh, this is like Baldur's Gate 3, you don't have a character that you bring to different worlds to play with your friends. It's server based. So like, you play a server, your friends jump in, and then I don't get to play my character again and catch my Pokemon again and bring them out and then hop into somebody else's game with that. It's like, oh no, it's like, we build a base on your server.
It's server based. Yeah.
So I was like, okay, this is nowhere near the Pokemon experience that I think people want from a mainline Pokemon game or a reimagined one. Like, this is very much a survival thing with a Pokemon type mechanic in it.
I do like it has a little bit of Arceus out there because you got to go and beat these guys with your bare hands and then throw a ball at them in the open world. That's fun. I do love that. Just beating up that sheep with a baseball bat because I got to catch 10 of them. That's great.
It is really brutal. 100%.
Yeah. Apparently you can capture people. I haven't done it yet, but apparently you're able to capture human beings, which I've always wondered. Why don't they do that in Pokemon in the TV show? You know? Why can you capture the animals but not the humans?
It's like, why can you shoot deer in America and not the people? Well, you can. You can shoot the people. Well, and it depends on the color of your skin as to whether there are consequences.
Yeah.
But,
and it depends on what state and what part of the country.
Yeah,
but yes, you're right. But yeah, that'll be cool to see where that keeps going because I think it's good now and I think it'll probably just get more popular with time and with updates. But also, because we're on me now, right, Chad?
That's correct.
I'm assuming. Okay. What is this one? Oh, that's right. I beat in one sitting. Not a super long sitting either, in one easy sitting. Turnip Boy robs a bank. So I never played Turnip Boy Commits Tax Evasion, but apparently it's like a fun short Zelda-like, I believe is the first one. And Turnip Boy robs a bank, picks up right when that game ends, and you are it's a roguelike, top-down roguelike thing where you are robbing a bank. You're going in, getting cash, getting out, and as you go through every time, you have like. It's very short, though. Like, I beat this entire game in, I think, it was like 3 hours or something like that. Just did everything. And it's really fun. Like, it's a solid... I don't know. I never played the first Turnip Boy. I know people liked it. I was like, you know what? Let me just try it and check it out. Played it for 3 hours. Adored it. Didn't want to stop playing it. It's a great time. Like I said, it's roguelike. You're robbing a bank, but there's 4 bosses in the bank you got to beat. And, it's that. You bring your money back, buy stuff off the dark web. And then Turnip Boy has a gun now. That is the main thing where I was just like, yeah, I need to get that shotgun so I can go fight I forgot what his name is. I think it's like Yeehaw. He's like an onion named Yeehaw, and you kill him and he said, I've yeed my last haw. It's very funny. All the writing is very funny, like meme kind of stuff. And I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. And Turnip Boy doesn't speak. So everyone's talking at him and it's just like exclamation points and question marks. But no, it was solid. It was very good. It was on Game Pass. I think the game itself is not super expensive if you buy it. Super fun. I would definitely recommend it if you want to play like a top-down pixel roguelike. And then I played Redacted, Go ahead.
I just want to say real quick, the original Turnip Boy was actually kind of an infamous game back during my Press YYZ days because there was a brief period where we did kind of like a monthly barf game thing where we all agreed to play a game that had come out recently so we could talk about it at the end of the month. And I want to say that Turnip Boy was one of those games. Either that or we all just collectively agreed, hey, maybe we should all play this game this week. And I actually had the misfortune of running into a game-breaking bug an hour into it. But it was like a really like unfortunate game-breaking bug where it's not like I tried to walk into a news screen and the game would always crash. It was like a key item or like a key character that was supposed to appear didn't appear. But that game is like so puzzly and so Zelda-like where not having a guide to know where it is that I was supposed to go next, I just assumed, I must just have not puzzled out where it is I'm supposed to go next. And so I legit spent like 2 hours running around in that game being like, where the fuck am I supposed to go? What am I supposed to do? Before I realized, I encountered a game-breaking glitch and I can't progress anymore. And so I put the game down and came back to the podcast with a pretty negative review. And it escalated because my other host had also played the game, had not encountered that bug, were able to complete it, and had a decent enough time with it. And it turned into this ongoing joke of like, I despise Turnip Boy. And they're all like, Turnip Boy is one of the best games ever. I don't hate it. I think I got into a little bit of just encountered some bad luck in that particular instance, but it's not a game that I'm inclined to go back to.
Yeah, I'm not going to play the first one because I played the second one. You have guns. You don't have guns in the first one. So, I will stick with 2. That was cool. I also played Redacted, which is a thing I can talk about at an undetermined time.
Ooh.
It was very, very neat. That's all I can say about that.
Ooh.
And the last thing on here, it's not a game. Sometimes we do this. Guys, have you watched Ted on Peacock?
Ted, like based on the movie Ted with Mark Wahlberg and the teddy bear?
Yes.
No.
Seth MacFarlane's teddy bear, Ted, has a TV show on Peacock, and it's fucking really good. Peacock is the most surprising subscription service because you're like, it's fucking Peacock, who cares? And then you watch Swiss and you're like, actually, that's pretty decent. I kind of want season 2. I watched Ted, I'm like, fuck, this is actually really fucking funny. Ted is way fucking better than I ever would have thought. It's great hearing Seth MacFarlane be back and just be funny as shit. Like I love it. It's very good. It's like set in the 90s, so it's Mark Wahlberg as like a 16-year-old boy.
Wait, Mark Wahlberg's in the TV show?
No, it's
okay.
a different kid playing Mark Wahlberg's character.
Okay.
And it's like 1993 and he's 16 or whatever. And yeah, he's hanging out with Ted. Him and Ted go to school together. And it's so funny. It's raunchy and it's great. And I'm like, you know what? Thank God that someone made a Ted TV show in 2024 because it fucking works. Let me tell you, it's very good.
Okay.
That's it.
I've got 2 things on my list. We'll move on to our last little quest thing here. Actually, I didn't put this on my list because I forgot to put it on my list until Adam right now just mentioned television. True Detective. Oh, y'all. True Detective 2nd episode just dropped right now. So, new season. Spooky, weird, mysterious, dark in Alaska. Jodie Foster. Supernatural? ? IDK, my BFF Jill. Who knows? Very, very highly recommend that show so far. And then
I had a question.
I'm sorry, quoi?
So I know it's an anthology series, right? Because it's
Yes.
always like a new set of people.
Yeah.
I never watched season 1, but I do know what season 1 is about. Have you seen season 2? And I know you're watching season 3 now.
I have watched. No, season 4 is what's out now.
Oh, is this 4?
Season 1 was Woody Harrelson, Matthew McConaughey, and it is the best season that has existed so far. Season 2 was
Vaughn? Was that Vince
Colin
Vaughn?
Farrell,
Colin
looking
Farrell.
weird with a nasty mustache. And then season 3 was Mahershala Ali, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And
was Vince Vaughn in that one? I feel like Vince Vaughn's in one of these. I might be wrong. Anyways, continue.
If he was, it might have been season 3 because I remember nothing about season 3.
Yeah.
In fact, I don't even know if I finished it.
Isn't it season 4 is Jodie Foster? So my question, I thought there was only 3. So maybe 4. I know what happens in 1 because that's one everyone likes, and I just looked it up instead of watching it because that's what I do sometimes. From what you remember, do they all? It's an anthology series, but do they all eventually have like a supernatural spin to it? Maybe. No. Oh, so it's just certain ones might have that.
From what I can remember, it is not a trend in this series.
Interesting. So we don't even know if Jodie Foster is going to have supernatural stuff because it doesn't always happen.
Right.
Just interesting to know. Just interesting.
But speaking of other anthology series, also Fargo just wrapped up with a season finale of this one. And holy shit, that was amazing too. So just a good time to look at your TV, whether there are games on it or shows on it, movies on it, whatever. Just keep looking at your TV, everyone, and say thank you. Thank you, TV. And the last thing I have here is Letzte Fantasie 7, which is German for Final Fantasy 7. And
I'm gonna run out of ways to say it here pretty soon.
Yeah, well, hopefully I'll be done with it soon. I'm actually, so I think last week I was 10 hours in when I talked to you all about it, and now I am 21 hours in, I believe, based on the game clock. And yeah, holy fucking shit. I think I'm probably 2 hours maybe from the final end of the game. And I will probably create a save file, come back and clean up some trophies after I'll probably beat the story to beat the game, and then come back later and clean up the platinum on the save file. Because this does not have a post game. This is, it's a 1997 game. It does not have you beat the boss, go back and explore the world and finish, and here's New Game Plus. That does not exist on this thing. So, yeah, very, very much enjoying it. I forgot so much of this game. And now I am so excited to see what happens in Rebirth because there are end game things that have already happened in Remake. I don't think it's a secret to know Meteor is a part of this game. In fact, it's in the logo. There's a meteor coming for Earth. We saw that in the end of Remake. That is not a thing that happens until quite a bit into this game. So yeah, and you already fight Sephiroth in Remake. So there are so many things about this game, late game things in this game that have already happened, and now I'm well, what the fuck is the rest of this? It's gonna be fantastic. Can't wait.
I can't wait till we get to Final Fantasy, whatever the third one is, and it's we've got 2 hours left of the original Final Fantasy VII, and now we have no fucking idea what's gonna happen, because that's what's gonna happen. The third one's gonna be a little bit of it, and the rest of it's gonna be completely brand new. which will be a fun thing when they get there.
I don't even.
That's
part of what makes it so mysterious and interesting to me is that like they might not, based on the way remake ends, like they could just completely fork and do something off the wall with familiar locations and a completely different story and not even follow the first game at all. Like I don't know. It's all up in the air and it's so interesting to me.
Chad, what did you say this game's name was in German again?
So if you were to translate Final Fantasy, it's going to recognize it as a named entity and tell you it's Final Fantasy. And then Letzte, L-E-T-Z, L-E, I forget how it's L-E-T-Z-T-E, I believe. Letzte is last, or like the last of something. Fantasy, which is basically fantasy with an I-E on the end. And then Sieben, which is the number 7 in German.
I see, because I actually, I foregoed using Google Translate and I actually went directly to Final Fantasy VII's German language page. And would you believe that it is called Final Fantasy VII on that page as well?
That is correct, yes. Which is why I had to translate it manually.
You're a liar.
I had to. I said the words. I said that means Final Fantasy VII. Those words, if you translate Letzte Fantasy Sieben, that means Final Fantasy VII. I didn't say that represents the game in its official translation in Germany.
When you watch a TV show and like someone's like speaking Spanish and like like Michael Scott, and they just keep like, hey, right. I recognize that part. Oh, there we go.
Oh, I couldn't even spell it correctly.
Yeah, there's an A in there, but maybe it's German for liar. Very interesting, Chad. Very interesting.
Yeah, so digging the shit out of that game. Can't wait to go play. Not Chrono Cross. What the Crisis Core. Can't wait to play Crisis Core after this too. It's gonna be a busy 2 months, y'all. Busy 2 months. Moving on to our quest log. New horror movie from Sony. This also comes from Taylor Lyles. Wait, was the first one Taylor Lyles? No, it was Logan Plant.
No, first one was Logan Plant.
New horror movie from Sony comes from Taylor Lyles at IGN. Another well-known horror game is getting the big screen treatment. This time, it's Supermassive Games' 2015 release, Until Dawn. The Hayden Panettiere and fucking Rami Malek, it made them famous. Just kidding. She was in it because she was already famous. No one knew who Rami Malek was back then. Sony Pictures has confirmed to IGN that the movie adaptation of Until Dawn will be directed by filmmaker David F. Sandberg, who previously directed horror hits like Lights Out and Annabelle: Creation, as well as DCEU films Shazam! And its sequel, Fury of the Gods. Here's a quote. As our partnership with Sony Pictures continues to grow, we're thrilled to be working with our first movie with Screen Gems. Until Dawn is a fan-favorite PlayStation game that we can't wait to bring to the big screen, says head of product, PlayStation Studios, and head of PlayStation Productions, Asad Kizilbash, in a statement.
David F. Sandberg is a good fit for this kind of project. I have confidence this is going to be enjoyable at worst, or, you know, who knows? It could actually end up being terrible. You never know what might happen with these big old productions. I will say this feels like a pretty conservative bet on Sony's part, and that's totally fair, but it just reminds me of, like, do you guys know off the top of your head what, like, the highest rated, like, video game movie is on, like, Tomato Meter?
Oh, I don't
know, like 80, 81 or something like that.
I want to say that it's Werewolves Within, which is the, like, Ubisoft funded movie based off of their, like, werewolves video game, but which is based off of, like, a physical game that you play that wasn't even a video game to begin with. Like, this movie announcement reminds me so much of that, where it's like, oh, you know, conventionally, like, this kind of a thing, like, people have been making these kinds of horror movies, you know, since the crack of time. And so it's like, well, I feel like we feel very confident that we can make a great movie out of this particular concept. And it's like, yeah, you probably can. But, like, again, it's just, it's not a particularly adventurous bet. It's a very kind of proven idea.
I think that's also why it works so well. I mean, it is a game that is meant to emulate teen slasher, like, movies. Like, this is exactly a it's a perfect pick. If they did not do this, if they're like, let's adapt something to try to fit that moment, it's like, no, like this is, low-hanging fruit. Do it.
You know what I want them to do? This will make this movie completely worth it. Don't tell anybody about it beforehand. It's exclusive right here on Respawn Aim Fire. Everyone, shush, hush your mouths. Don't tell anybody. Do what they did, and I don't know what year it was, probably the late 80s. Do it like they did Clue, where Clue had like 7 different endings.
Brilliant.
And they didn't tell anybody, so people went to the movie theater like, oh yeah, it was Colonel Custard in the living room with the lead pipe or whatever, and they're like, it was fucking Margaret Thatcher with a needle in the foyer, and people were like were freaking out because there was different endings of that movie. So to play off the whole choice-based gameplay of that, have different endings of the movie, play them at different theaters, don't tell anybody. That's a win. That's an easy win. Come on now, that'd be great. That'd be wonderful.
I want to go to the one where Hayden Panettiere like completely gets dismembered.
That would actually genuinely get me interested in seeing this movie real quick. Do you guys want me to rattle off the only 6 video game movies on Rotten Tomatoes that have a fresh rating?
Oh, yeah.
If you can believe it, there are only 6.
Mm-hmm.
6th spot, Sonic the Hedgehog with 63%.
Yeah, that was a banger.
Number 5, Gran Turismo at the
also surprisingly good.
65%. Yeah. Detective Pikachu, probably a little bit on the low side, 68%.
Also a banger.
Surprised to see it this low. Sonic the Hedgehog 2 with 69%.
Movie sucked.
Nice.
Wow.
Yeah, Sonic 2, not a good movie.
Above Sonic the Hedgehog 2, I am shocked, still to this day, shocked that this is rated this high. The Angry Birds movie 2 with 73%.
No, those are good. Those are good kids movies. Yeah, that makes sense.
And yeah, number 1, Werewolves Within with 86%.
Now, what if we go to audience score? Because then a bunch of weird sickos are like, Uwe Boll's Blood Rain is 100% critic score on Rotten Tomatoes. Don't actually look at that.
Yeah, it doesn't allow me to sort by that, but I'd imagine there's probably some weird stuff going on there.
Absolutely.
Well, that wraps up our quest log this week, and also brings us to segment from Adam. Segment. That's the Tifa's theme from Final Fantasy VII.
Oh, I thought it was like
I think it's
Lion
Tifa's
King.
theme. It's one of the main themes.
Very cool. But hey, you know what? Just talking about Until Dawn, time for a banger. I was telling Chad earlier, this is my favorite segment I do. I legitimately think that this could be cozy. If you ever need to take a month off, this could be your game show that we do on Patreon. It's that good.
Shit.
This week we're playing 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon as being John Malkovich Until Dawn edition, everybody.
Okay.
Stuff out old Until Dawn. They're making a movie. How about we talk about movies and people who are in video games who make movies as well? So this is a contest for those who don't know. 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon is being John Malkovich. You get a prompt of a person who's in Until Dawn. And then we'll go down the chain. They were in a movie with this person. Who was in a movie with this person? Who directed this movie? That person was in this video game. Name that video game. You guys get the idea of what the game is. I have 5 questions. You guys get a point for getting them correctly. Whoever has the most points at the end wins. They should go from easy to hard. So just letting you know, if you fuck it up, that's on you. All right. Starting at number 1. Jason Graves is the composer of Until Dawn. He's worked on a ton of video games. He's got like 30 video game credits for composing, including the 2006 movie adaptation of Flushed Away. You remember that movie? It's an anime. I think it's like a DreamWorks movie where like about a mouse that gets flushed away.
The movie adaptation or the video game
adaptation? He did the video game adaptation of the movie Flushed Away.
Got it.
That movie.
Yeah, I remember that movie.
Yeah, I have looked at this poster for the movie recently. I did not see it. I don't remember it, but I do remember the poster recently.
That's troubling that it's recently.
Well, the problem with that movie is that was Aardman Animation, which is known for their like stop motion clay animation movies, but that one was an outlier because it was computer animated, and that kind of contributed to not being that great.
I remember you saying, I think we looked at this last week. I think we talked about this movie last week or something.
Maybe that's why it's in my mind.
Yep.
But all right. Jason Graves composed Until Dawn. Worked on 2006 Flushed Away, the video game version. That movie that it's based on features Andy Serkis. Give me a game he stars in that is not based on a movie franchise. Andy Serkis in a video game that's not based on a movie franchise.
From Bithell Games.
Enslaved.
Enslaved is the answer I was looking for.
I mean, well, he was also the narrator, the AI voice in Volume from Bithell Games.
Is he?
That sounds correct, yeah.
It wasn't on my list, but I'll look it up. Andy Serkis. Wikipedia. But yeah, because Chad said it first, right?
Yeah.
100%.
Oh, yeah. Listen to Andy Serkis play the bad guy in Mike Bithell's Volume. Yeah.
Okay. I'll give it to Chad then. Chad wins it first, because I was looking at that list earlier. What is it called again?
Volume.
You did. So, correct. Volume is correct. The game Cozy said is an earlier game, but you are correct. Chad gets the point. I will say again, he's in all the Lord of the Rings games, obviously, of course. Heavenly Sword was his first non-movie game. You guys remember the game before?
God, remember Heavenly Sword?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, that's why he did Enslaved, because he formed that relationship with Ninja Theory.
And he did Enslaved. He did Risen, which was a game published by Deep Silver, and he also did Volume and then Lego Star Wars, which obviously wouldn't count. All right, very cool. So Chad gets the point there. Next up, Until Dawn music was highly influenced by John Carpenter. Carpenter is a famous video game enjoyer. He loves Sonic, specifically Sonic Mania is his favorite one. He loves Jak and Daxter. He loves Fallout 76, and he wants to direct a Dead Space movie, a game that Jason Graves composed on. Just a little fact throwing that in there. His love for gaming, John Carpenter's love for gaming, has led him to having 3 credits in video games. Name one of them. Hint, his upcoming game Toxic Commando does not count.
Friday the 13th.
He has a credit in the video game adaptation of The Thing from the early 2000s.
Oh, Cozy got a point.
That's good.
He does.
That's good.
It's that, and he was also in Fear 3 because he liked Fear so much. He said, "Let me come on Fear 3." They let him come on Fear 3.
Oh yeah, that's right.
I forgot about
I remember that.
That fucking they capitalized on that ring girl, scary Korean horror trope, and they were like, "Let's turn this into a video game too.
Let's make it a shooter."
Yeah.
Very good. All right, Rami Malek is in Until Dawn.
Mm-hmm.
The Academy Award-winning actor, by the way, heads up, he has an Academy Award, has many credits. His first credit is Night at the Museum, which gave me 17 potential other degrees of Kevin Bacon to go down, because there's a lot of famous people in that movie. I'm going to choose to go with Brad Garrett, who is the voice of the Easter Island Head, as well as Raymond's brother in Everybody Hates Raymond.
Okay.
What mega franchise did Brad Garrett get a credit in? I have a couple clues for this. He's a mega franchise. Brad Garrett has a credit in on the first game of the entire franchise. Brad Garrett credit for a mega franchise on the first game of the franchise. I have some hints if you guys cannot think of it, but you have to give me guesses first.
Sonic Adventure.
Is it?
No, it's not Sonic Adventure.
Man. Is it a Dragon Age?
No, it is not Dragon Age. Here's the hint. Again, it's the first game. Brad Garrett. It was before the year 2000. So think of a mega franchise that goes back before the year 2000.
Metal Gear Solid?
Fuck.
No.
That's a good guess. Good guess.
Oh, Ray, I gotta get in the box, Ray.
Resident Evil?
No, it is not Resident Evil. There's another hint. It was a PC game only. So before 2000 and only on PC.
Deus Ex.
No.
King's Quest.
No.
No.
Not a bad guess. Last hint. This franchise has had 3 different owners.
Oof.
Mega franchise. Again, one of the world's biggest franchise.
Mm-hmm.
He was in the very first game before 2000. There's been 3 different owners of this franchise. You just start throwing stuff out.
How does this not? Yeah. How do I not? This feels like it should be like right at the top.
That's why this game is so good.
Those things are very.
That's why this game is great. That's why it's my favorite game I do, because it's fucking amazing. You know what I'm saying? Especially when you know the answers.
Oni.
No. Is that a mega franchise? Let's focus on the word mega franchise. Like Sonic. Sonic was a good guess because that's a mega franchise. Wait.
Grand Theft Auto.
No.
Give
me more mega franchises, guys. That went
PC
back before
only
the year 2000.
mega franchise.
The first one.
The first one was PC only.
The first one was a PC only. Just remember that. Brad Garrett is in Everybody Loves Raymond. He's very big.
Civilization.
No. Someone's got to get
I'm
it.
stumped.
Let's say it was... No, can't say that. That doesn't make... No, I can say that. This franchise has been mentioned on today's podcast already.
Whoa.
Uh,
Pow World.
No. I'll give you another hint. It's been mentioned in this segment.
Fuck.
what?
Okay.
Where did all my memory
The
go?
Thing. Friday
not
the
The
13th. Enslaved Odyssey to the West.
No, none of these are mega franchises.
Heavenly Sword.
Volume.
No.
Risen.
Volume.
You guys are
Lego
going
Star
around
Wars.
all of them.
Is it a Star Wars?
Nope.
Star Wars. Oh, no.
It's not Star Wars. That is a mega franchise. Maybe it's one of the games that Sean Carpenter likes.
No.
Right. That's what I was thinking. Okay.
Sonic.
Fallout.
I already said
Fallout.
Sonic.
Is it Fallout?
Fallout 1. Yes, Cozy, you got it correct.
Okay.
Good Lord. It is not that... No, it's easy on this side when I know the answer, of course. But yeah, no, Brad Garrett was in the first Fallout for PC. Very cool, very cool. And yeah, 3 different owners. It was Interplay, it was Bethesda, and now it's Microsoft. There you go. All right. Hayden Panettiere is in Until... By the way, what's the point total? 2 for Cozy, 1 for Chad?
Sounds right.
Okay. Hayden Panettiere is in Until Dawn. Yes, she is in Kingdom Hearts, but that's an awful franchise, so I'm going to go in another direction. She was also...
An awfully excellent franchise.
No. She was also a recurring character in Malcolm in the Middle, which also starred Gary Anthony Williams. That's the black guy. That's the dad. But the boy in the wheelchair, it's the dad. I don't know if you've seen Malcolm
I remember
in
the boy in the wheelchair. I don't remember his dad.
It's his dad. Yeah, it's his dad. Gary Anthony Williams has been in many video games as well as movie. He famously played Bebop in TMNT Out of the Shadows. That was the last live action one before they rebooted it. He was, you remember who he is now?
Yeah.
Kind of. He was the black guy in TMNT. He turns into a warthog. He also in that movie played alongside pro wrestler Sheamus, who was Rocksteady. He was the big Irish dude with the red hair. What is the first video game Sheamus appeared in? Sheamus, professional wrestler. What is the first video game he appeared in?
WWE SmackDown.
I was going to say, is it a wrestling game or is it a non-wrestling game?
I mean, you could probably assume. Chad, you were giving me a title. There's probably more to that title that you said.
1999. WWE
Nope.
SmackDown 2003. WWE SmackDown 2007.
I will say you're not getting the full title right as it is. You're very close, though.
WWE SmackDown with blood.
SmackDown versus Raw.
Okay.
Oh, SmackDown.
Maybe there's a
versus
number
Raw,
after SmackDown versus Raw.
2004. WWE SmackDown versus Raw
1999.
1997. WWE
1998.
SmackDown versus Raw 2012.
1995.
WWE SmackDown
1993.
versus Raw
1992.
2015.
1990.
WWE
1989.
SmackDown versus Raw 2016. WWE SmackDown versus Raw 2017.
Nope, you're going the wrong way.
WWE SmackDown versus Raw 2010.
Maybe one up.
2000. I already said 2011.
You said 2012.
2011. WWE SmackDown versus Raw 2011.
Odyssey to the West.
There you go, Chad. Good job. We got a smack. Yeah, SmackDown versus Raw 2011. There was also another clue I had with Gary Anthony Williams about what video game is he in. That's my favorite video game of all time, but you guys wouldn't have got that one either. So yes, Sheamus first appeared in SmackDown versus Raw 2011. Very good. All right, last question. This is all for all the marbles.
Yeah, we're tied.
All the marbles. You guys can get this here. One of Until Dawn's biggest influences was Quantic Dream. Obviously, the picking and changing the story and yada, yada, yada. Heavy Rain specifically. Quantic Dream made recent popular meme fodder, Detroit Become Human. The lady Adam dies every time he sees is played by Valerie Curry, who also starred in the 2016 Blair Witch alongside James Allen McCune, who has in one video game credit. What is the one video game credit James Allen McCune have? Hint, it's an exclusive that the platform holder isn't very fond of.
Ooh. Interesting.
So the lady from Detroit Become Human, the blonde lady who looks at you. No, that is not correct.
No.
It's an exclusive that the platform holder is not very fond of. That's the one credit James Allen McCune has. What is that game? Not Conkers.
Star Fox Zero.
Nope. I will say, if it helps,
Rise, Son of Rome.
No, that's not. There is only one game in the franchise at current point. Just a heads up.
Okay. We're getting there.
Redfall.
No.
Not a bad guess.
You guys are getting there. These are good guesses.
The Order 1886.
No. He's also an inconsequential character, so this man does not matter. I'm just looking for the game. I'm fishing for this game title. Games that the exclusive platform holder is not fond of.
I don't know why I'm like circling around Microsoft, like as if Microsoft hates everything it has.
I will say,
or maybe they've
that's
acquired
unfair.
something and they're like, man, I wish we didn't acquire this thing, or I hate to be associated with it now.
No, I will say that it is a game that's come out in the last 2 generations. So either this generation
Perfect
or
Dark
last.
Zero.
That was a 360 game.
Concrete Genies.
No. It's singular genie, but no.
Concrete Genie.
Also, the game was dope.
I will say that there was a news story about one game from this publisher doing well, and then this game that I'm talking about got mad. They're like, we did same numbers, and they didn't give a fuck about us. Talked about it on this podcast. You were all here.
Yeah, but you said we've talked about this game in the last 3 minutes, and we were like, "What the fuck?" What
Yeah,
game was
I know. I have another clue, but I think it'll give it away to Chad too much, so I don't really want to say it yet. The games, last 2 generations, console holders not proud of it. They gave credit to somebody else who made a game for them, and these guys were like, "What about us? We did that good too. You just didn't care."
Fuck.
Here's another one. It's Sony.
Okay.
Oh.
Okay.
Make it easier on you guys.
Okay.
What does
Sony
Sony
exclusive,
hate?
last 2 generations.
Godfall.
Nope.
No.
Not a Sony first party game. These are first party game, by the way. I don't know.
First party game. Okay.
Sony first party, they hate it. 2 generations. Last Guardian.
No.
Hmm.
We're getting close, guys. There's not very many left to guess.
No, there isn't. And the problem is that, like, I feel like Sony's first party studios are, like, much more consistent
Drive
in terms
Club.
of their output compared to Microsoft. Like,
Destruction All Stars.
You know.
No.
Oh, that's a good guess, but apparently that's not it. But yeah, like Sony, they're good at putting out games of a consistent level of quality, and they get, sometimes criticized for being a little bit samey, but like it's rare that you see like a big whiff outside of, something like Destruction All Stars, but that's not it.
Nope. We would all agree that this game's not very good. We've all specifically said on this podcast that the game is like not that special. I know, me and Chad have at least. I don't know, but if Cozy did.
Baldur's Gate 3 is not exclusive to PlayStation, or get it. I just do that because I know you like it.
Yeah.
Oh man, it's taking all my willpower not to just look it up online. Fuck.
Well, don't do that. That's cheating.
No,
I'm not doing it.
curious.
I've not cheated the entire time.
I will. You'll know the
right
answer
here.
soon enough. No. Good guess.
Fuck.
Here's what I'll do. I'll give you guys one more hint, and you get one guess apiece.
Okay.
And if you cannot guess it, maybe I'll give you guys 2 hints. First hint. It has been a thumbnail on this podcast. The game in question has been a thumbnail. Chad, you make the thumbnails. I feel like you should be able to get it.
I mean, I've also made probably 500 thumbnails for this podcast.
Last thing. The main character is voiced by a famous Star Wars animation actor. We're going to end in a tie. 5, 4, 3. This is not hard. 2, 1. Guys, it's a tie. It's Days Gone. How you guys not thought of Days Gone?
Days Gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chad, we literally had an episode about like no
Man.
one cares about Days Gone.
Yeah. I
swear
guess
to
I
God, that
just
was a
like
thing.
blocked that out in my
All the
trauma.
clues also. You said
Yeah.
every
Buried it.
PlayStation exclusive game in the last generation except for Days Gone. You literally just won't say that video game. I don't understand why. But it's Days Gone. That kid isn't Days Gone. He's some fucking random biker. Who cares? It
I
doesn't
just
matter.
don't associate that game with PlayStation.
It is.
And me, I know,
I don't know
in my
what to
brain was like, surely they didn't make that. But they did.
Yeah.
But they did.
Yeah, I remember because they Ghost of Tsushima was like, oh yeah, we sold, whatever, it was like 12 million or whatever. And Days Gone's like, we did the same thing, but Sony literally never made a tweet about us. They did not give a shit. They do not
Right.
like this video game.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
That's the guy who used to be the head of the studio. But that's it. So sorry, 6 Degrees of being Kevin Bacon and John Malkovich. There's a tie this week. Wham, wham, because they couldn't guess Days Gone. Just PlayStation fan, supposedly, Chad Ennis couldn't guess it.
Okay, well, I'm a PlayStation Fair Weather fan. I don't do the bad shit.
All right, that's it for my segment.
Woo, thanks, Adam. Cozy, do we have a question of the week this week?
We do.
Oh, Coast
I
question
don't
of
have
the
a
week.
segment. I don't have a like big, expansive segment of my own, like TMI with MPD, but we do have the return of Cozy's question of the week, where I read one of the many questions I've written into Kind of Funny's podcast that they either did not or have yet to read on their shows. My question of the week for this week is, what is a TV show that you used to watch in your youth where you really wanted the villain to win?
Ooh.
Excellent question. Where I want the bad guy to win. I got to think of examples because there's plenty of that. I always wanted the bad guys to win all the time. I feel bad for Plankton. From
Problem
SpongeBob.
with this question for me, I'll just kick this off real quick. For whatever reason, whenever I think about TV shows from my youth, the first TV show that comes to mind is Zaboomafoo, which I don't know if either of you guys.
No.
There's not really a
watched
villain in that show.
No, there's not
It's
really
with the
a
lemur,
villain.
Chad. The lemur and
Yeah.
the Krat brothers talking about animals.
Yeah. I guess if I had to give a legitimate answer to this question, there were definitely a few episodes of Arthur where I wish that Arthur didn't get reprimanded for being more violent than he was. Like, for example, the one episode where he punched DW. I know, don't punch 3-year-olds under no circumstances, but come on. Like, DW did 117 things wrong to Arthur over the span of 3 days. Give him a little bit of slack.
It was bad. Yeah, she like threw his like model airplane out the window. She's like, I
Yeah,
thought it should
exactly.
fly or whatever. It's like she was a terror. Yeah, this is a tough one because I remember as a kid a lot of times just liking the bad guys. Be like, that'd be cool if they
Yeah.
won once.
Like, I feel like the one that comes to mind for me is the Kirby show. Like, Kirby, I don't give a shit about Kirby.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But King Day-to-Day in that cartoon, like, he's fun. He's interesting. He's funny.
Just trying to protect his kingdom, This
Yeah.
little monster comes out of nowhere,
It's weird that the English version of that show gave DDD like a southern, like deep Texan accent.
Well, I'm King
Yeah.
DDD, and I'm here to tell you. Yeah.
The other thing that comes to mind to me also is, like, Bugs Bunny. Like, Bugs Bunny is a villain. He's just doing poor Daffy.
That
Poor
was-
Daffy Duck.
Well, I'm not worried about that. For me, it was the coyote. Like, I understand. As an adult, I understand if he wins once, he eats him and he dies, and that's the end of the show.
Yeah.
But I'm like,
Yeah.
this dude spends a lot of money. He's got a lot of plans, and just like, let it work once. Maybe
Yeah, right?
he's like, he's about to do it. And he's like, you know what? I would lose all purpose in life. But the fact that he never even gets close, it's like, why? Why does he keep trying? Give up, kid.
We also don't know that he's going to eat him. Like, we see that he has, like, sometimes a knife and fork and a bib around, and he, like, licks his lips. But, like, maybe when he finally gets up to him, he's like, do you want to go to Olive Garden with me? I'm hungry. I've been trying
Soup,
to chase you
salad,
down.
breadsticks,
I'm
baby.
so hungry because I can't keep up with you. I'm trying to reach you. All I want to do is take you to Olive Garden with me and get bottomless breadsticks and gnocchi soup.
But I do love once in a while when you have the bad guy win. I remember there's been 30 seasons of Power Rangers in different iterations, but like
Oh, yeah.
some of them they'll be like, oh, the bad guys win for like the last 3 or 4 episodes, and like the world goes to shit. And you're like, oh, this is interesting. This is
Yeah.
fun. Of course, they win in the end, but it's like that's really cool. I like that. So I'm with you. Basically every cartoon, the bad guy should win at least sometimes, just to keep it interesting.
Yeah. And then it turns into a video game called The Murder of Sonic the Hedgehog, and Alex nominates it for Game of the Year.
Yeah.
And that brings us to Game On Game Show. The Game On Game Show, we play a game called Game On, the game show on our game team. Game. Folks, we have a returning game that we've played before, but with a new twist.
Mm-hmm.
The game is called GameStop Blackjack. So this is where we use good old GameStop trade-in values to try to hit a particular target or less. So here, the last time we played this, I introduced a new wrinkle where if you choose a game that's not in GameStop's current database, like they do not offer value for this, it automatically defaults to $10 as like a way to really get you to think about something rather than like a free pass. There's another thing I accidentally did today. Today's twist is also going to be, we had the Xbox Developer Direct, so all of the games you are going to be throwing out there should be available on an Xbox platform. They don't have to be Xbox first party, but available on an Xbox platform.
Gotcha.
If you name a game, I look it up, it turns out it's not on Xbox, same $10 rule applies. So, 4 games you will have to choose, coming in under $23 because it has been 23 years and 2 months since the Xbox launched.
Okay.
So $23 or less, 4 games. Whoever gets closest to 23 without going over wins. And the new twist is I typed in Google GameStop trade-in values, and I saw 2 links. One had the GameStop logo. One had a really low-res, awful-looking JPEG of just some white GS letters on a red square. Turns out, that's GameStop Canada, baby. So we are looking at the GameStop Canada trade-in values today. So Canadian dollars, 23 Canadian dollars is our target.
Interesting.
Across 4 games. Oh, and here I'll share my setup here. So
that gives Cozy the upper hand.
Well, just think about the other, X number of shows that we've done where he's had to think about U.S. dollars, and he's like, I don't know.
That's true. Making it easy on him.
Yeah. How much spaghetti do I put in one serving? I don't know. You'll never know. It's impossible. No one knows.
We can't figure it out.
Yeah.
All right. Very cool.
So because Alex has the advantage, I'm going to have Adam. You get to pick your first game.
NBA 2K22.
NBA 2K22. Oh, it autocorrected to NAB instead of NBA, and I was like, it does not exist. What?
No NAB.
And for which system are you choosing this?
I'm going to say PS4.
Sorry, your Xbox platforms are the only option. But
it has to be an Xbox? Okay.
There are 2 Xbox systems.
Xbox One.
Xbox One. All right. The number is $1. So NBA.
1 Canadian. Give it to me, baby.
$1 Canadian dollar. Correct. 2K22 is $1. Cozy, what is your first game?
Let's see. Fuck. EAFC 22.
EAF. I believe it was called.
Wait a
Not a real
minute.
game.
Does FC not exist at that point, though?
This is the
FC
first year that FC.
This is the first year.
Okay, so in that case,
But if you would like to correct it to FIFA, I would take that.
Okay, let's do that.
All right, so FIFA 22, you said?
Yes.
This also launched on multiple generations. Which generation would you like to choose?
We will go with the Xbox. Let's go with the Series generation.
All right, the Series X version of this will get you $1 Canadian at GameStop Canada.
Okay.
All right, Adam, what is your second game?
So how many do we need to fill out?
You need to get 4 games as close to $23 without going over.
Because I think I could easily get like 3 games that are worth $1, but then I need something to get me to like 15. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's the thing here. I would say give me Sea of Thieves. Is there a disc version of Sea of Thieves?
Sea of Thieves does not exist in that database, so that will default to $10 for you.
Oh, no. Actually, that's probably a good thing.
All right,
I
Cozy,
think so.
what is your second game?
Going out there, making a wild pick. Marvel's Midnight Suns
Oh.
on the Series.
In the Series, so that is the lower of the 2 values. The Series X version is $7, whereas the Xbox One version would have been $9.
Oh. Okay, well, points on the board.
All right, so Midnight Suns gets you $7. At this point, Adam, you have $11 with 2 guesses left. Cozy, you have $8 with 2 guesses left. Again, 23 is the target without going over. Adam, what is your third game?
Madden NFL 22 for Xbox One.
Madden NFL 22 for Xbox One is $1.
Oh boy, I've got this one in the bag, baby. Oh shit.
All right, Cozy. Your third game.
Let's go with... You know what? It's never served me wrong. He's always served me right. We're going to go with Sonic Frontiers for the
Sonic
series.
Frontiers for the series. All right. That is $9.
Yeah.
All right. So
there we go.
We have one pick left for each of you. Adam is at $12. Cozy is at $17.
We have to get to 23 as close as we can, right?
Close to 23 without going over.
I don't know, Chad. Is there Alan Wake 2 for Xbox Series, maybe?
Ooh, Alan Wake 2. What was that voice?
Because I'm being dumb, because I know the answer.
The answer is no, that does not exist.
Oh, I guess I'd put $10 on the board. Well, that puts me at $22 out of 23. Crazy.
All right, so, Cozy, you have to get $5 to tie, $6 to win, but 7 makes you lose.
Ooh. Tough.
Up with that strategy. Look at me. I sounded like a
Real
dummy,
tough.
but I knew what I was doing.
What do we want to go with? Definitely should be something that's a little bit more like... You know what? Fuck it. I'm all in. Chad, let it be known that I'm all in.
Okay. I got a thing in my mind too, Chad.
I'm all in.
I want you to check it afterwards to see if Cozy would have won with my idea. But go ahead, Cozy.
Gotham Knights.
That's actually not a bad one.
Series X.
All right, so I've written it on the screen to build the anticipation and the suspense.
Yeah.
Gotham Knights. I'm sorry, for which platform?
Series X/S.
Series X/S. It does exist in GameStop's database
They do exist.
for a total of 7 Canadian dollars, bringing you to 24, which makes you lose this, unfortunately.
Busted.
Damn. So close.
Damn, I was scared there for a second. Chad, what would Sonic Mania get?
Oh,
Would have
Sonic
gotten Cozy.
Mania.
I just feel like that's a perfect $5 or $6 game, but I'm not positive.
So Sonic Mania, available for Xbox One, is $2.50.
Okay, never mind. Wouldn't have worked. Okay.
What's something? Do you have something immediately on hand that would have worked?
A $5 game. Let me see if I can I sort this by...
I guess $6 would have been the perfect number because he would have won with $6.
Amazing Spider-Man 2 on Xbox One.
Xbox One?
Amazing Spider-Man 2. Wow.
Yep, that would have given you $5. Marvel Pinball Epic Collection.
You're definitely thinking of that one.
Okay.
Yep. One Piece World Seeker, Monster Energy Supercross, My Heroes One Justice, Doom Eternal would have been a good pick for you.
Okay.
Steven Universe. Okay. I'll give you 3 more. Let's see. Dying Light 2.
Putting these in the old... That's it? $6 for that?
$5.
That's upsetting.
Oh, I'm sorry. I typed in $5, which would have been a tie. Sorry.
Yeah, what's $6
to
for the win?
Let's go back then. Lego Jurassic World.
Okay. Never.
Okay.
Specifically, Call of Duty Black Ops 3 en français. So the French version.
They have a French version. Didn't know
Of course.
Lego Star Wars Force Awakens. Resident Evil 5 HD.
That must
Lego
just be
City Undercover. Yeah.
For the record, that must just be the packaging, because the way these discs work, you plug it in and like the system automatically detects, are you in English or are you in French? So I don't really know what the deal is with that.
Let's see. Call of Duty Black Ops 3 without parentheses en français is worth $4 on PlayStation 4, but $6 on PlayStation 4 if it's en français.
That's weird.
$6 en français on Xbox, $2.50 without en français on Xbox.
What is that? You got to do some... I need you to go to a French GameStop, Cozy, and report back to us next week on what that means.
I will. I'm not certain what the deal is with that. I'll have to look into it.
In their entire database, that is the only game that has those two versions.
Just Black Ops 3.
Just
It's
Black
the only
Ops
off
3 has a French version.
Strange. What a strange country that lives under the queen or the king, whoever it is.
That's it for Game On Game Show, and that is it for episode 340 of Respawn Aim Fire. Thank you so much for listening, everyone. You did it. I'm so proud of you. You let this play in its entirety, probably. Or you skipped to the end and got the secret code. Vaginal is the secret code.
Real quick. I looked this up. This is what I was saying earlier, but I just want to confirm it. Yeah. So yeah, the deal with the French version of the game is it's just the packaging. The packaging is in French. Oh. The disc itself, bilingual. You plug it in, it's English, it's French, it's whatever you want it to be.
That's so funny that they discriminate the packaging like
yeah,
that.
An extra $4 for having French packaging, which is something that, I mean, doesn't even really exist in most
What's also
games
interesting is
days.
that I feel like packaging has never mattered at GameStop in my experience. Well, it's been 20 years probably since I traded in a game, but yeah,
they have those generic boxes where they just throw some paper in there and it's like, it's Skate 3, bitch. Buy it. I don't care.
Homework. Play Signalis. Play that game. It's our barf game for the month. So we are all playing that. We are going to be recording it in about 2 weeks. And you'll be able to hear our thoughts on that. If you have thoughts on the game and you would like to be on the show, reach out, let us know. If not, if you just want to tell us your thoughts in the wind, there's going to be a storm coming soon on the West Coast. So shout it there. It'll make its way over to Adam and Alex over there in the East Coast time. Just make sure you say it loud enough so that it makes it over the Rockies. If you would like to vote on future barf games, that's backlog accomplishment with Respawn and Friends, you can do so by going to patreon.com/respawnaimfire, where your vote is weighted heavily. And there will be a poll coming out there in the next week to week and a half-ish about what February's game will be. It is themed around Alex's choice because it's his birthday month. Because his birthday actually is, when? Groundhog's Day? 4th?
It is
3rd?
February
9th?
the
7th?
1st.
February 1st is Cozy's birthday.
Just kept saying dates.
We're letting him choose. And while you're at patreon.com/respawnaimfire, you can also get exclusive access to a month early version of our RAF game shows and or special episodes. So right now, you are the only ones, patrons, who can listen to Elf Bowling, Strike at the North Pole,
Elf Bowling and the Great North Pole Elf Strike.
I'll get there by the time it's ready for everyone in 2 weeks. If you're not a patron, you get these episodes a month later than everyone else. Speaking of, we are going to have a super special, interesting, different, but still game show version of that show in February, but it will be about a week late for you patrons. But it is definitely one you want to tune in for. So we are recording it live February 6th, I believe, is the plan right now. It'll be up right after that. And look forward to that. Aside from that, just do cool stuff. I'll go back to our regular screen so you're not looking at, Alex's loss. It's so weird that Alex doesn't really understand the value of the Canadian dollar, but Adam does so well.
It's wild.
It's so weird. Alex, would you like to again plug Cooking with Cozy Bear's Cooking? Cozy Bear, KBK, Cozy's Burger King.
Cooking with Bears of Cooking of Cozy. Yes. Cozy Bear's Cooking Season 4. Its debut has been pushed up a little bit, or rather pushed back. I always get confused by those euphemisms of what's supposed to mean what. Instead of debuting on January 24th, it is debuting January 31st. That is a Wednesday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on twitch.tv/CozyBearLive. Look forward to it.
Yeah, thanks so much for everyone for listening. Thank you, Alex and Adam, for joining me this week. Until next time, here's our usual sign-off. Here's another one of those. It's all downhill from here. Like, oh, it's all downhill from here. Like, it's going to get worse. Or, oh, it's all downhill from here. It gets easier. Which one is it? What?